Hey there, YouTubers. So here comes another filming session. In fact, I kind of wanted to make this video yesterday. Though, yeah, I met some setbacks that prevented me from so doing, and yeah, for that I beg your pardon. And there are some other videos pending to get edited and somewhat polished, and hence the delay. And for that I also sincerely and humbly beg your pardon. So tonight it's fairly tranquil, fairly quiet, and of course fairly lonely. And since I got quite discouraged and frustrated, or you can say I got certain things that happened kind of disincentivized me making some cold calls to Great Britain as I planned. Well, so hence it also contributed some content, some spice to this video as well. Excuse me. So here it is. So I just like to talk about shit, and in particular how to minimize pain in life. Well, I suppose the concept of pain and afflictions doesn't come to you as something strange or unfamiliar, since more or less we all experience pain in this life, well, so long as you are not a stillbirth, since you failed to acquire, since you failed to develop any consciousness or awareness. Therefore you wouldn't feel pain, you wouldn't feel any sort of pain, assuming that you got flushed out of a vagina, and then you got disposed of. Well, I'm not saying don't hold any sympathy or empathy towards a case of stillborn or stillbirth, a stillborn child, but still it brings a tremendous amount of pain to parents, to the parents of a stillborn child in most cases. Still, though being a Christian myself, I now I have become quite I have become, or I should say I am becoming increasingly tolerant towards euthanasia, and in turn also anti-natalism, since the amount of pain and afflictions I am currently experiencing is truly heartbreaking, if not also overwhelming. And and I have been making, I have been, at least I had been reading the Bible, or at least I had been listening to the, to the, to the audio, audio version of the Bible, KJV. Yes, yes, I do need to confess that I haven't been making many prayers or watching or watching Robert Breaker's videos very often. So probably it's then shifted my focus on my current infirmities, problems, and my own shitty situation. Instead of instead of making my eyes, instead of keeping my eyes, my focus on God, on the finished work of my Lord Jesus Christ. But yeah, I just so this video, it's mainly going to be about venting, and plus my probably also plus a bit of ranting. So I don't suppose I have anything more meaningful or more entertaining to say than than sharing some information, some experiences I've managed to salvage and gather about how to reduce pain that tends to occur in our lives, in particular in men's life. Since I am born a man, so I can't actually relate to what it may feel like to be born as a woman, as a female human individual, aka. Though yes, by observing their behaviors and speech, I do reckon that I can at least speculate what they what sort of difficulties, what sort of hardships they are likely to suffer from, they are likely to experience. Since they are the weaker vessel, and certainly they have to take advantage of being a weaker vessel, in contrast to a male human individual, so to speak. So it's so I suppose as a result, as in order to truly become a fairly mature or a fairly competent MGTOW, you can't lay all the blames on them, since every creature on planet Earth is suffering. Every creature alive suffers from and experiences pain and afflictions, as a result of another creature or another organism's misbehavior. That's basically what I that's basically how I drew my conclusion, to as to why why the hell we just don't tend to get an easy life, or a so-called easy life, with all with all the all the sanctions, all the wars ongoing, it's we can hardly call we can hardly call the lives we are currently living anything but easy, so therefore I suppose we should cut some slack. Well, we should at least cut female human individuals some slack by not laying all the blames on them, but instead we should like I said, in one of my previous videos, about how to remain a MGTOW and not become a misogynist, since well, hate itself, also the action, the behavior itself also consumes a great deal of energy and time, and instead of trying to inflict a huge deal of pain upon another human individual, or or a female human individual, or a bunch of female human individuals, why not spend your time trying to reduce the amount of your own pain instead? And that's basically the main point of argument that I I try to make here and there in my previous video, though I failed to express that so clearly and explicitly as I as I have done in this particular filming session. Well, since it was more than half a year ago, so so even well, I'm not trying to boast about the so-called delayed advantage, the so-called delayed developmental advantage that we men tend to have over women. But we tend as men, scientifically and generally speaking, we tend to develop much later than than women, in terms of mental and psychological maturity, in terms of even in terms of even in terms of physiological maturity, so even half a year can mean even a difference of half a year can mean a huge difference to a man's life. Well, I sometimes also go back to my my previous videos, in which I try to do a bit of a comparison and contrast, between my videos, so, well, and I do know that yes, in terms of a level of well, I'm not trying to, well, a fair disclaimer here, I'm not trying to boast about my own psychological development, but instead I'm trying to I'm trying to make my arguments here more clear and easier to take a grasp on. So so in conclusion, it's instead of trying to get something or trying to attain or achieve a goal, why not try to maintain your status quo? Why not try your utmost best to avoid the afflictions and pain that might be associated with the hard work or the amount of hard work you force yourself to invest onto or into something that seems quite unreachable, quite inaccessible, aka making yourself more practical, more pragmatic, more aka more realistic. Well, at least for the time being, but I'm not saying you should stop taking positive actions to make positive changes in your life completely, since it's pretty much one of the most primary driving factor that keep us alive and keep and somehow make us recover from major setbacks, from for example, like recovering from a major episode of depression or panic attacks or blah blah blah, and something like that. And as you guys might have already well known, I experienced severe depression episodes from time to time, and I certainly don't want myself to re-experience that over and keep regurgitating my failures, my failures to cope with that piece of shite slash that spike that got so entrenched in my life, regurgitated over and over and make me a complete wreck, a complete piece of wreck. So I want, the saying goes for how much I want to overcome my stuttering, how much I want to change myself. So so the same goes for how much I how much I want to make myself become a better person, or at least in terms of in terms of productivity, well, or at least in terms of the amount of money I can earn. But sadly, I just well, so far, I have made I failed to make much progress, and I can't stop blaming myself, yeah, since who else out there is to blame, and even if we know exactly who who else who else is out there to blame, what else can we do to change that? So well, excuse me, just need to moisturize my throat again, and give myself a moment of pause and cutting myself some slack so that I can regain focus on this filming session, on the main topic of this particular filming session. So I know you guys in a much similar fashion to who I am and what I have been suffering from. I know you are, you feel so frustrated, you feel so devastated, you feel so helpless and hopeless, and you want to give yourself completely to nihilism, to black pills. I mean pure black pills. But I'm not here, saying that you should say no. You should say no to black pills completely. But yes, even if imagine you have made up your mind, by going completely on black pill, then why are you still watching my videos? Why are you still, if you are still watching any videos, or if you are still doing something other than trying to annihilate yourself or trying to off yourself, then you are not completely black-pilled. Well, since you are still avoiding getting yourself killed, then I can't say you are completely black-pilled in my books. But I don't quite know the precise definition of going black-pilled completely. So well, but I suppose, yeah, generally speaking, if you have not yet killed yourself, or if you have not yet at least physically attempted suicide, then I can't say you are a completely black-pilled person. So yeah, so still, as a result, yeah, black-pilled is going completely black-pilled is is a fallacy. But I'm not saying it is a mistake, but it's a fallacy that if you still deep down inside your mind, you still want to make your life better than than the current life you are living, then how can you say that you have make yourself completely 100% without a single strand of doubt black-pilled? And even I, being a Christian, saved by grace, yes, I have, yes, at least I want to believe that I have accepted the blood shed by Jesus on the cross. I still can't say that without a single strand of doubt that I that I am a Christian. Well, at least I think I am a Christian. Yeah, but you do get my point. You know, it's you know, um, what else have I forgotten to mention? Yeah, it's so you know, it's just, you know, let's just say, you know, human minds are highly malleable, highly changeable. You know, it's unstable, and or at least my mental state tends to get quite unstable. It fluctuates here and there, you know, due to my medical condition, and yes, also consider this fact. You know, we men, you know, we men are more easily pleased than 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 women. I beg your pardon for my stuttering. You know, I don't know if you know, if the name Johnny the MGTOW still rings a bell to you. But you know, he once said something like, you know, what makes a man happy? You know, a cheese sandwich plus some lettuce plus a blowjob plus a computer with connection to the internet. You know, and that's all. You know, that's pretty much what makes a man happy. But a woman, well, since I am not a woman, and despite I do have thoughts that I wish I were born a woman, still, you know, since I have been living with my grandma for you know, for a couple of years. And I can see that even she, you know, being quite an exemplar, you know, being quite a typical you know, a minimalist, a female minimalist. She oftentimes can get quite unhappy, you know. Well, in particular, you know, with the fact that I sometimes, you know, bang my sex doll, you know, with the fact that some, you know, that you know, more often than not, I tend to make a mess in my room, and I tend to make a mess after after I finish my meals, you know, and blah blah blah. So I just, you know, don't see, you know, I just still don't see a way to make my grandma completely happy, despite the fact that I have been living, you know, with her, you know, in her residence for, you know, for quite a couple of years, you know. So that's something worth considering, something worth pondering, you know. But in any regard, yeah, thank God and thanks to this filming session, I initiated myself. You know, I have felt slightly better, slightly, you know, if not somewhat or significantly more fulfilled. Yeah, so I hope, I sincerely hope you have a great day, and thank you very much for staying with me, for being with me until the end of this video. God bless, and hope to see you guys next time, if the Almighty is still willing. Cheers. Amen.